Everyone to this September meeting of the Beech Grove Redevelopment Commission. I'm calling the meeting to order at 7 p.m. In lieu of a roll call vote, I will ask members to introduce themselves, starting to my right.
Elizabeth Lamping, Vice President.
Kathy Chappell, Secretary.
Matthew Kochever, President.
Nathan Rinks.
James Sigmund.
Okay, I'll move on to our next item of business, the approval of the minutes from the August 19th RDC meeting. Members, you have a copy of the minutes before you. Is there a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
All motion.
Nathan?
I'll second.
Second by James. Is there any discussion? Any corrections that need to be noted? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? The ayes have it, and the minutes are approved. Moving on to the docket we have this evening. This is the allowance for accounts payable. The RDC claims read, we have examined the accounts payable vouchers listed on the foregoing register of accounts payable vouchers consisting of one page, except for accounts payables not allowed as shown on the registered. Such accounts payables are hereby allowed in the total of $2,964.04. On the second page, there is a breakdown of that cost. One to Lewis and Kappas for professional services in the amount of $2,533.30. The second line is to Peters Franklin Limited, or LTD, also for professional services in the amount of $430.74. Do I have a motion to accept the docket and have those payments made?
All motion.
I'll second.
Second. Discussion? 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 Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion is passed. Moving into old business, we have two items for this evening. The first item is bringing back up the Beech Grove Police Department's construction of the new police station, and the ask that was made of us to potentially help with redevelopment of around that area, specifically adding on additional parking. I will just say, just learning over the last month from various people here in the city, that the city may need to move forward with acquiring the property through eminent domain. So that is ongoing, and my understanding is that once the property is made available to the city, that the RDC will be in a position to assist in that additional parking facility. But I didn't put this on the agenda just for me to speak and to tell you what I've learned. I really wanted to also ask our attorney, Bob, if there was anything particular you're looking out for, or at least what we would be looking out for. When would we be in a position to act, based on what you've known, as well as the mayor or anyone else here at the city who wants to provide comment on this particular item of business. So, Bob, if you have anything, let us know.
We're not handling any of the eminent domain proceedings. That's a firm out of Lafayette. I don't know what the timing will be. Generally, the way eminent domain works is that once an appraisers are appointed and an offer is made based on appraisal, the city would pay money into the court. There would be an attempt to settle. The court would appoint appraisers if it's not settled mutually. And then if the landowner is not happy with the court appraisal amount that's set, then they can have a trial, either a bench trial or a jury trial on the value, not on whether you acquire. The acquisition can happen fairly quickly, but not necessarily how much has to be paid.
Okay.
And Dennis might have a lot more to add.
The appraisals are in the process of being done, and probably could be done by tomorrow. There was 5 different appraisals made. And then what happens next is our legal representation will send a certified letter to each property owner, giving them 30 days to respond. That doesn't, if they don't do anything, then we will file in court. And then the court will order a appraisal. This will be very quick. I would suggest, if you are interested in purchasing a parcel, which I think you should, it would be parcel 102, which is on the north side of Main Street. And that could be as early as November or December, one of the two.
Questions? All right.
Not all of the property owners are against this. There is the significant property owner of where the actual station will go supports this. And that has been a very easy transition.
Okay. Parcel
So-
102 is partial 102 is the parking.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay.
And that would be a multi-purpose. That would be parking for the police station and for Main Street.
Who's paying for all the appraisals? Is that like
The city of Beech Grove.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, city.
So with the courts right now, I mean, that's a Marion County court, does that go to Marion County? Okay, so, I mean, I don't know how backed up they are with something like,
Yes,
okay. And then,
See, and Bob's right, once the appraisal comes back, and Bob talked about writing a check to the court for the appraised value of these properties. Once that happens and we write the check to the court, it goes into an escrow account. We theoretically become the owner of the property. And then the only thing left would be, if the property owners don't agree with the price, then they put both parties in a room and try and figure it out. But at the end of the day, it's a quick process, actually.
okay. That includes the disputed property, the one that we're trying to go after in another way, okay. And it's really certain, usually these come down on the side of,
The law favors,
I mean, as long as there's a public purpose, under these laws, government, if they could show a public purpose,
okay,
can make a taking. They get possession.
okay,
And if the parties can't amicably work it out, either with or without court-assisted mediation, if they can't, then there's a trial,
Okay.
either a bench or jury trial.
okay,
That part can take a lot longer.
I see, that's
but
what I-
Possession happens
okay,
very quickly.
But it doesn't typically get to that point, right? It's usually settled.
Typically does
Doesn't,
not.
okay.
It depends on the complexity and how far the parties are in terms
okay,
of their appraisals
Okay.
and court's appraisal.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So maybe we'll know more next month.
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. Well, look forward to hearing more about this next month and the coming months, and what the options we have available to us to assist the city in this endeavor. Moving on to the second line of business, just a follow-up on what I guess we are now terming as Billboard Park. That's the best nickname that I can think of. So I'm going to turn it over to Liz on this particular one. If you have any updates for us, I know you've been corresponding with people. So the floor is yours.
Well, and we'll have Mr. Easley kind of address as well. So Mr. Easley and I met with Mr. John Campbell. He is the new real estate manager for Reagan Outdoor Advertising of Indianapolis. We had a very pleasant conversation with him at the site. So I think to start off with, as he has suggested, we're probably not going to call it the Billboard Park anymore. So we'll just, I don't know, we can just call it we'll just call it
Third and Main.
Third and Main project or something like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and just let Mr. Easley, if that's okay, so we don't cross over each other's conversations, and I'm going to go ahead and let you kind of fill in the
Sure,
how the
absolutely.
conversation went, and I can add to it after you do your presentation.
Absolutely.
Mr. Easley, before you begin, I do know that you'll be up also next with on our new line of business, so just keep this to the Third and Main project only.
Absolutely. So, like Liz said, well, I actually rather liked the Billboard Park name.
I know.
But it becomes less relevant when you hear about our conversation with Mr. Campbell. I guess I'll just say that in that meeting with Liz and Mr. Campbell, we just kept waiting for the catch to happen. But as he was describing the possibility of a partnership at that location, he kept talking a lot about they're a family-owned business and they're very excited to get involved with the community. They're planning on being in the market for a while, and he really wanted to continue to explore the opportunity of a community park at that site. So by the end of it, we were very much under the impression, and he gave that to us directly, that they were interested in taking down the current billboard infrastructure on that parcel, and additionally potentially purchasing
Yes.
from the owner the parcel immediately adjacent to it to the east, thus consolidating the entire green space and then donating that to either the city of the city of Beech Grove or to one of our nonprofit partners that might be able to help coordinate. So that has been, and not to get into the next item of business, but that's kind of been on our radar, the Parks Board radar, for a while, and it's something that Liz and I have gone back and forth on, dreaming about what that could look like for Main Street and for the people of Beech Grove.
So, and I'll read to the council, Mr. Easley went ahead and did his, what, I think it's similar, it's the same thing that he sent out to the commission, but Mr. Campbell responded back. He says, I'm in Florida until Tuesday. However, we should discuss the path forward based upon the additional information provided with regard to the adjacent parcels. Reagan Outdoor looks forward to working with you on this project. Please let me know a convenient time to discuss next week. Have a great weekend. So they are serious about moving this forward quickly. Yeah.
That's right. He said he was going to talk to his CEO next week, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the hope is for the parcels.
And obviously, there's so many details, but Liz has been tireless in contacting people and getting information, and we're just fact-finding at this point,
Yes.
but we can dream big.
Okay.
So,
Sounds good.
if I was following this correctly, I want to make sure that my notes match what you said. So we're talking with the representative from Reagan, it would be to take down the billboard, to acquire the property that is next to it, so that entire parcel that I've seen in other mock-ups, and then for them to donate it to either our Parks Board or to another nonprofit that's familiar, they could take care of these.
That was a suggestion from the clerk treasurer just recently, that we do have nonprofit partners such as Beautify Beech Grove that might
Yeah.
make it easier for a donation to happen.
Wow.
So the next moving piece, and Mr. Campbell did ask for me to maybe consider reaching out to Mr. David Sturzman, who owns the other two parcels, to see if maybe he would have the same goodwill to maybe donate, and that did not go well. So we have to figure out how, and I'm guessing Mr. Campbell we sent him all of Mr. Sturzman's contact information, so I think the two of them will maybe work it out.
They might
from
have the
there.
next point of contact.
And,
Yeah.
and we discussed if Mr. Sturzman is not willing to maneuver in any way as far as to even let us purchase the property, we could still go ahead with the land from Reagan and then still do beautify or enhance that area. We just wouldn't have that small. How much is it, about 20 feet total?
That could be, it's still a good chunk, just even the Reagan portion that,
Yeah.
I mean, you could beautify
yeah,
for a
but-
nice little pocket park, yeah.
What Sturzman owns would be what's adjacent to the side of that building, which
That's right.
would really be awesome to get that, because Mr. Chris Petty, who owns that business, really is excited about a mural along that building.
Which I suppose you could just do either way.
Yeah.
It's not like the empty Sturzman property
Yeah.
is gonna be any kind of a visual block of a mural, but,
Right.
But hopefully the two businessmen can work it out.
Yeah.
Come to an agreement.
Yeah.
right.
They tend to do that sometimes, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we kept waiting, we kept trying to figure out what we could do, and he made it very clear that Billboard Park just wasn't what his thought would be of
That's
that
right.
area. He really wants to see us do something for the community. And
I
he
thought it'd be
even-
kind of quirky, but
Yeah.
he was like, no.
and he
Like,
even
let's get
said-
that billboard taken down.
He's back and forth to Florida a lot because they're going to be relocating up here. His wife's in Florida, so that's where he is now. But he even said that he would love to come to, if we had a workshop sometime, he would love to come before just the RDC wants to get more involved. I suggested he join the Chamber of Commerce. He liked that idea. He wants to meet the mayor. So, and their office is on, so they're close to us. Their office is at 511 Madison Avenue.
Okay.
So that's close. Are you familiar with where it is? Oh,
I know where 511
Yeah,
is.
so that's close to us. So we might find a partnership that's gonna be beneficial and a lot of other,
Okay. Well, I will just say this, continue with the fact-finding and how things go, but, you know, and keep us apprised on if property, you know, the property can be donated to the city, if, you know, and how that goes, how the RDC can help with that redevelopment as we go. We'll want that for those planning purposes, but I will just say very exciting developments, especially from Reagan. I'm frankly surprised.
Right?
I mean, they're in advertising, but,
Right.
you know, that's great to hear. So, any further comments or questions of Ben or Liz here on this particular item?
Nope.
Okay, well then we'll jump right into our new business with the Parks and Expansion Connectivity, the report that was just passed around. So with that, Liz, the floor will be yours again, along with Ben to go through this. Give us any comment or presentation you wish to make.
I just wanna really just commend Mr. Easley for the effort and the time that he spent. I hope everyone had a chance, and I know it's a lot of detailed, and he passed out all of his connectivity plans. That took you a lot of time, and it's wonderfully laid out. It just shows so much of what we can do as far as to benefit the entire city with parks and different areas. It's a long-term plan, but I just want to just thank him so much for his effort and his time, and no one can present it and discuss and give us it better than he can, so.
Yeah, thank you. So this is just kind of a wish list, and this is a list of projects that I hope that the Parks Board will consider. We have just done our 5-year master plan process this year, and I think that there is room in that for some connectivity and expansion pieces. So that's what this is. At least I think it's the first one on there, what I've got called project number 1, up at 16th and Detroit is something that we're seriously talking with Holy Name about, potentially looking at a partnership on that property. It's something that we already mow and maintain, and there's an opportunity for partnership there. Obviously, number 2 is the one that we just talked about, that formerly known as Billboard Park idea. But as I know that you all are also moving into a time of master planning, I just thought it might be helpful for you to take a look at these projects that promote connectivity and green space. I really think that many of them, and maybe not in their current form, but if they were punched up a little bit, could really contribute to the quality of life for Beech Grove residents and for businesses as well. If there are any projects in there that make sense from a redevelopment angle to include in your 5-year plan or your master planning process, or any partnerships with the park board, I think that would be a terrific jumping off point for some discussion.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, first question. So was this plan developed for our city park board to consider?
It's specifically for the Beech Grove Board of Parks and Recreation.
Okay, cool.
That's
Okay.
right.
Okay, great. So, so they're all very, very interesting. I took a gander at some of these projects since Liz forwarded this off to all of us. I'm a big fan of having connectivity. I think, you know, with having parks here, I think it's a benefit for owners. I mean, the Franciscan Trail is already, you know, with the with all the different construction projects or updates that the mayor sends over to us. I'm very excited for this
Very
to
exciting,
open.
yes.
And always looking for another place to go walking and get my active minutes. So just looking at it here seems was very interesting to me, and definitely a, something that I think just looking at this will take time, just based on even how you laid it out, but over time, but it looks pretty good. I would say for us, it would be if the park board has any particular item as it develops it, either if it is the Detroit Street Neighborhood Park, that seems to be the project that maybe is most ready, down to, I guess, number 9, which would be the longest one, Greenway Connections. There is, you would come to us, we would just have, give us as much information like when the mayor does, when he's looking for something on Main Street or something. Costs that would entail other things, and so that we can review it, make sure it's within our mandate that we can do, and I guess the last property acquisition, I don't know if we really do property acquisition. I can't. From what I hear from other board members, we don't usually do that a lot. But for me, I'd just say, as long as is getting as much information as possible, similar to what you're doing for the 3rd and Main project. Now I have to change my vernacular on this. I had it set.
I think we should just go with Billboard Park for now.
Yeah. So on that continuous fact finding, but saying, okay, the cost will be this. We're looking for help with, with this particular piece, just so that we can know we can fit it into our. Make sure one will match our comprehensive plan if and when we get that developed, whatever that iteration is, but also make sure it fits in with our other various projects that we're just in the phase of trying to figure out how to prioritize, is my suggestion to you and other members of the park board who may come forward. But
Yeah, 10-4, understood. I was going to ask, is there, I know that connectivity, you can draw a straight line from those kind of projects to economic development. As a commission, do you have problems with park expansion projects in particular? Are there some variety of the projects that you see there that are more attractive to you as a commission than others?
I think, I don't know, I'm speaking for myself.
Right.
I think we should be agile enough to determine each project based on its merits and kind of go with them as they come up, because we just don't know in this kind of economy, and with us being small and landlocked, you just never know what opportunity is going to be there. Like when we tried to do the business, we were going to do the sewer to the business that was coming in the old CSX property. That was a great opportunity that came up. Unfortunately, it kind of washed out. I know years ago when they gave the property for the senior facility, the new senior housing right there on Churchman. Now we're talking about expanding parking on Main Street, which would be great for a lot of our businesses that could really use it. I think it's just kind of, I kind of like to be light on our feet and be able to go, okay, are you telling us we can do this? Yeah, all right. We've got the money for it. Let's do it. And it seems like it'd be a good plan. So.
Yeah, along with that one, along with it's developed. It's like we are ready to go. Maybe there's a couple things here or there that we have to do. But even as so, it's like you're saying, we're thinking about doing this, and you're doing more fact finding, like Billboard Park or something. Just as long as we get in more information, just whenever you're ready to come to us. I do have a particular question for you, just because this is the one that stood out, and I was just passing through by Sarah Bolton and that Churchman Avenue before I came over here. I just have some questions about what certain things mean. So a multimodal path node, what does that particularly mean? When I'm trying to visualize it, what am I thinking of?
Right.
When
To
I read
me,
this?
a node is kind of like a mini trailhead. When it comes to an intersection. It's a little bit larger than maybe the 10-foot path that you would see along the rest of the corridor. But it's an obvious distinction for pedestrians to end where they're walking and cross a street or connect to something different.
And a signalized crosswalk, is that it's a crosswalk, but is it the flashing lights that are at the top for cars?
That's what I have in my head. Yeah, like a hawk signal.
Oh, for people crossing?
Yes, yeah, well,
So
either
we
way.
have one on Churchman over by Parkview Apartments, and it's pretty nice, and it's just two straight signals, but the kids can hit the button, and
Right.
it's a pretty clearly marked crosswalk.
So the hawk signal is overhead, both, I believe, for pedestrians and for the vehicular traffic that's crossing as well. I personally just kind of live close to that intersection with 13th and Churchman, right at the entrance to that, to Bolton Park, and it's a little crazy getting across there some days.
And there might be grant monies for some of these ideas as well.
I hope so, yeah. Certainly, I think we're looking into DNR's grant program. Their submission is not until next June, which I think gives us plenty of time to pick one of these projects and,
You have to have a specific, okay.
yep, I believe so. But I just, as you're planning your comprehensive plan and talking about prioritization and things, I just thought, why not throw this in front of you all to at least consider some of these kind of projects?
Okay.
Yep, that's why I like this. That's why I like to see, because there is just, even talking with the Redevelopment Association about what we can look at and what can be updated. You know, these are the things that me particularly that I'm looking for, of making sure that we have, if it's not in our plan, at least it is a reference
Sure.
to that and the things that we can do. So yeah, I like a lot of these ideas. I will say this, because the grant helps it. We do not have a grant writer for our board. I personally, because I'm just relatively new, I don't know what in the redevelopment field. So something at redevelopment commission, what grants are out there. I would just say this: if you happen to come across it either in your profession, you talk with people, or as the Parks Board is applying for grants, if you happen to see a grant that's more for
Makes sense for
RDC,
you
let
all.
me know, as well as Bob, as well. And, you know, if that's something that, you know, we could, you know, pursue for either one of these projects that you're working on or one of our own other things, that's always great. Because again, as I've said in previous meetings, love to get that free money.
Oh, yeah.
That's out there. Grants are, you know, are always to add on to the revenue that we're already pulling in.
The thing I like about this so much, especially as a city council person, when I go door to door and go throughout my district, you hear so often, especially when that 23rd Street areas, you hear so many people who live away from some of the direct main. It's like sometimes they do voice like they don't feel quite as connected to the rest of some of the goings-on that's happened. This wraps the city around, and it extends out to every neighborhood. So that's really pleasing to me, you know, for the people that I serve in a different capacity.
I think that orange shaded area is really interesting and really telling on that first page, just that those are the areas that are, they're not within a half mile of a current park. And so, I mean, bringing park property to them or getting them better connected to our current park properties, I think is, that should be a goal of ours, certainly of the park board.
Yeah, I know. I live at the southern end of this community.
That's
I'm
right.
right outside of it. I mean, I literally need to go one more street, and I would be within a half mile. But okay.
And just one more thing, if I could add, out of respect for Mr. Campbell, because Ben and I met with him, and he made it very clear to us he did not like the term Billboard Park. So I'm going to ask the commission
Sure.
that we not use that at all. We can use Third and Main, but I apologize. But he made it very clear to us, and Mr. Campbell is just, he's an extraordinary person to visit with and talk to. And out of respect for him, he did not, and Ben can,
So we can call
Agree
it
with me
the
on that.
park formerly known as the Billboard Park.
or, I don't think Billboard at all. I
The
don't
third
think
main
Billboard at all.
green space.
'Cause
Yeah.
green space, he made it very
Yeah.
clear,
Time
he
you can
did
make
not
it,
like
that's
that. And if we can find a way to acquire property, let's.
Keep them happy.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you very much for the time this
Thank you.
evening.
thank you,
We
Ben.
appreciate it. Okay. And also, I would say, Ben, if you're ever happen to be at an RDC meeting, always feel free to let me or Liz know if there's updates on this. Like to hear just generally how the Parks Board is going with this, because you know I will say I'm very excited. I like this plan and wish you all the success. Yep. Okay, moving on to our next item of business is the 2022 budget. Jeff.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
So one of the exercises that we went through earlier in the year was your decision to not pass through any of the assessed value. At that point in time, we had talked about expenses that you had coming up that you needed to cover, as well as looking at potentially $1.5 million that you would be willing to put forward to other projects. For this budget document, we have refined that based on the Pay 2022 assessed value that has now been submitted from Marion County to the state, which we didn't have back in June. And the estimate for available funds for future projects would be approximately $1,440,000. That assumes that you're going to make your payment for your bond payments of $131,560. You previously had made a commitment beyond 2021 for LED lighting in the amount of $40,000. And then we left the placeholder that you've used for several years for $50,000 for professional fees and investigating other projects that you want to undertake. That second page is taken out of the fiscal plan that the city maintains to show you where you're at cash-wise, as well as budgets and what we would anticipate that looking like. In 2021, you started the year with about $625,000. You're scheduled to bring in about $753,000 in TIF revenue. The clerk treasurer has transferred over the $240,000 that you had in debt service reserve for your bond payments that we had talked about before. That money that's been in reserve for the last 15 years now gets to be applied to the final payments for your bonds. So that is in your operating account. You have bond payments of about $400,000, LED lighting of $40,000, drainage of $60,000, a road project of $170,000, and then $72,000 and some other. So if you were to spend that entire $741,000 and all of your TIF revenue comes in, we would anticipate you would end the year with $877,000. Next year's revenue, based on what has been presented as assessed value, should produce about $791,000. That is variable depending on the tax rate that is imposed and the 3% cap on business property in the statutory tax caps as to what will actually pay tax into your pool versus what they won't have to pay because of hitting the tax caps. Your expenditures for 22 are $131,560. That comes early in 2022. So if you undertake some of these other projects that you've talked about, property acquisition during the last part of 21, of this $877,000, don't spend at least $131,000 so that it cash flows.
Okay.
You can spend it all the way down to zero, but then the clerk treasurer is going to have to do an interfund loan, which is more trouble than it's worth. So yeah, if you could not spend at least 131, and then anything that you would spend beyond what's anticipated in this 2021 column would just be reduced by the $1,440,000 that you have available for future projects in 22. Again, we've provided this sheet for you to send to the council that shows that on paper you are funded and that they should approve those toward the activities that you want to pursue. After putting that one together, there was a request from the mayor to break out some of that $1,440,000 and then to apply $200,000 of that amount to a Hornet Park Community Center parking lot and drainage project. So I have a revised one for you to consider with that as well.
Thank you.
Are we voting on this project today, or?
No, it's just on the budget they have in reserve for when the time comes when the mayor brings it to us.
Gotcha.
And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions of Jeff?
Thank you again for doing this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, okay, so just a comment for all of you on the Hornet Park Community Center parking lot. I know the mayor's spoken to me about it. I know he's, I think he may have made comment on it at a previous meeting, but as coming together, is looking with the, I don't want to put words in the mayor's mouth, but as he was told to me, making it look as we would help with part of the projects as it does affect one of the allocation areas that we have. City will fund part of it, and the school would fund the other part of it. Okay. But there's drainage that goes under that parking lot, which affects that parking lot. This project would rip out that parking lot, would fix the drainage issue.
I have a guide to pass out.
Perfect, okay.
Okay, good.
Well, then, if you want to do that now, I know you're on our agenda later, but we can cover that later. Perfect, okay. So, but was given a defined number on that, and so I wanted to present both budget options to everyone. You know, this seems like something that, you know, we want to have in reserve for when the time comes. Best to have that as its own separate line, and then we can keep the future projects line, you know, for future projects that we are in various stages of development, but not ready to appropriate funds for just yet. Make sense?
Yes, it does, yeah. So
Okay.
so our obligated part for all would be that $200,000. That's.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, okay. I think that's
Okay. Bob, am I allowed to make motions as a member?
Yes, there's no rule against it. We haven't adopted Robert's rules.
Okay.
So, yes, any member, including the president or any officer, can make a motion.
So do we need a motion to approve the 2022 budget?
Yes.
To include
to include.
the potential Hornet Park project?
Yes, so that's what I'm about to do.
Do you want me to do it?
I
for you?
want to do it, actually. if
Okay.
you don't mind.
I didn't want-
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
why,
know
that's
if
why I
you
asked,
were
because I'd
already-
actually like, yep.
Right.
So I'm going to make a motion that we, and help me out here, Bob, that we approve the 2020 budget that was put together by Jeff Peters, that appropriates our expected revenue in the following manner. Payment of the 2016 bonds for, in the amount of $131,560. Future projects, including infrastructure and incentives, in the amount of $1,240,000. Hornet Park Community Center parking lot and drainage line for $200,000. Projects LED lighting for $40,000, and projects professional fees for $50,000, for a total budget of $1,661,560. So that's my motion to approve that budget and transmit it to the city council
I'll
for their
second.
review. And seconded by Nathan. For comments, we have more revenue coming in than we've had in some time. It is good that we are plugging in most of that revenue into potential projects. There is no guarantee that we will spend it all. I will just say for us, I will only be prepared to vote to spend that money once we have all the necessary information needed to execute a particular project. How much it will cost, is it within our mandate and our, under state law and our comprehensive plan? Does it serve the community? So on and so forth. But we have that revenue, we should plug it in somewhere. I think this line is appropriate for that matter. So that's my comments. Any further comments on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion?
You gotta have a second.
Nathan second.
Second.
Nathan did.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion is approved. Jeff, question for you. Who has in the past usually then taken this document and forwarded it over to the council?
I don't know. I assume whoever I gave it to.
Okay. Then I'm going to do that.
Matt,
Or
what
the-
happens is, the second and third reading of the budget is October 18th.
Mhm.
That's when the RDC we'll put the RDC on the agenda, and then you would go through the RDC budget, and then the council will approve your budget.
Okay. Okay.
So in other words, he holds on to it till then, okay.
Perfect.
October 18th.
Okay, just making that note. All right. With that, Jeff, thank you for coming.
Could I have one more
Yes.
comment? In regard to, as you look through these projects, if you get to the point where you have more projects than you have money, these revenue streams are anticipated to continue at approximately this level until 2030.
Oh,
So you've got, if you ate up all of 22, that would still give you 7 years of revenue. So you can make commitments to that. You can either issue bonds. I know you're not keen on that idea now that you've just gotten yours paid off. You can also do a shorter-term financing in the form of a bond anticipation note, which would be basically a mini debt up to a 5-year period.
Okay.
is that
So-
higher interest on such things? The
It
interest-
will be a little bit higher,
Okay.
but still, interest rates are very good at this
Bonds are
point.
really, really low, right, correct.
So, like I say, I wouldn't be deterred from a larger project if you find something that really hits your sweet spot. That can be taken care of, and your money can be leveraged going forward.
And those bond rates are locked in, they don't fluctuate, they're locked in?
We can sell it either way, but I
Okay.
would advise, yes, you sell it locked.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. My paperwork back in order. Man, that moved quicker than I thought.
Yes.
We are
You're
rocking and rolling. All right, third item of business, RDC comprehensive plan and project prioritization. So as we discussed at the last few meetings, again, we have a comprehensive plan that was adopted in 2008. It is over 10 years old. 2008 was a long time ago. Many different things have changed. So I believe it is time that we need to look at our comprehensive plan and see how we can amend it. If it's simply just a update to existing code statutes and certain things about the city, so be it. If it is a more substantial amendment, where we also start to look at other areas of the city on top of our other areas, that's great. But I don't know what that is. For that, I think we will need to look at some professional help, so they can look at our plan, guide us on what that amendment process will be like. And if we do move forward with that, having someone by our side to help us navigate public meetings, taking in public comments, addressing those public comments, and amending those rules, as well as walking us through the other process, such as going before the city council for them to approve any amendments that we may have.
Okay.
And for that, I have a motion. I move that Matthew Gocheever, which is me, president and member of the Beech Grove Redevelopment Commission, and Robert Rund, legal counsel for the Beech Grove Redevelopment Commission, be permitted to jointly contact firms known to have experience in assisting redevelopment commissions in creating and/or amending redevelopment plans, gather necessary information about engaging their services to assist the Beech Grove Redevelopment Commission in amending its comprehensive plan, and report back to the Redevelopment Commission with a recommendation on which firm or firms to contact and invite to make presentations and be interviewed by the commission, and with a recommendation on the extent of the services the commission should ask the selected firm to provide. That's my motion. Do I have a second?
I will second that.
Okay. The purpose of this motion is to search for those who we want to ask. There are many, many firms out there, and so I don't want us to blindly walk in and put out something because we need to do a little bit more of that fact finding. That's the word that's been tossed around a lot. So instead of having all of us try and do it and risk getting involved with the open door law.
Yes.
Talking with Bob in between our last 2 meetings, the idea would be for him and me to start reaching out to these firms, talking with them, gather that information, and then at a future meeting, bring forward the information that is stated here in the motion. Which firms are available, what their cost may be, which ones do we want to hear from. If it's if it's a substantial list, which, limit that down to a couple, then we can move forward with interviewing them and then figuring out what to do. Bob, I want to turn it over to you if there's anything else you want to add, but I think I covered it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think this is the best way to do it. Because if you appoint a committee, you have to post every time you would meet to make a call, or it just becomes overly cumbersome. And we can bring back the information, how they charge, ballpark, what their experience is, what projects, what redevelopment commissions they have assisted in the past, and maybe even, obviously call some of those redevelopment commissions and say, were you happy with
Okay,
the work they did or not, or, what,
yes.
what were their pros and what were their cons?
Yeah. And so I will say this, under discussion, if any member happens to know any firm,
Okay.
want to pass on that information to me and Bob, please let us know. I know, Kathy, you've spoken with other RDCs in the past in other cities. So if you're aware of any of them, I know Franklin, when you look into the amphitheater, if you know of any firms.
Greenfield, I can reach out to Greenfield.
So yeah, pass that along. We'd like to hear from, see who's out there. I've spoken with Rhonda Cook over at RAI, the Redevelopment Association of Indiana. She's passed on some information that Hancock County used. Even though that was for the county comprehensive plan, I imagine that the firms that presented to them maybe also do smaller municipalities. So at least we have some place to look at.
Okay.
Further comment on the motion?
So the comprehensive plan, so once we update that, so the old one they might even suggest we could just make amendments to, yeah. They might,
Would be the
yeah.
most costly.
Yeah,
That's what was
okay,
the
just
most
make
costly
amendments.
to me.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about it and really just connecting the dots to Dave with
Yes.
what Rhonda said is that there are amendments. I mean, so looking at the plan, I mean, the plan does connect the various allocation areas that we've had, because there were some that were in the beginning. The 2008 plan brought it all together to have a more structured and overall approach. What's the goals and mission there? I think some may have been added on, and so if if we don't have to throw out everything and redo it from
Sure.
scratch, but at a bare minimum, I would like to make sure that everything is that everything is still connected. One, that everything is updated. Anything that may be
Yes.
out of date by
Yes.
reference or everything, do that. Number two, add in, at least by reference, certain documents, certain other plans that have been made. It's on my computer somewhere. I think it's that Main Street plan that's just a couple
Yes,
years old.
yes,
I know that's something else, but if we can
Yes.
add that in, because
Yes.
we help address Main Street issues. That one is a different one. If we can add that in,
Yes.
this Parks plan may be something that we can do, as well as, and I'm just thinking out there on what we can do. Are there other areas that we can be looking at that maybe need in redevelopment? Should it become a allocation area? So something to look there. I want to look at everything. But the amendment process, I think, is something that is good. But this is all right now wishful thinking about stuff. Bob.
And Matt, over the years, there's been a few amendments to the thing, to the plan, but they've never been integrated into the same document. You have passed resolutions creating the one at CSX, the North Emerson. You've made some changes out by the hospital more recently. But you can't look at that 2008 document and find those. You have to go through minutes and, a variety of things. And so it would be good to have everything in one document so that somebody could say, this is the Beech Grove plan. They don't have to look at a 2008 document and then 3 or 4 years of various amendments of whereas sort of amendments.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. The last thing on this I will say is that once we get this amended, we get everything together and all updated to the way that we like it. Just learning from Rhonda, from my talking with her today, is that we then afterwards should be looking at for us and for future redevelopment commissions to make sure that we built in, much like how we do budgeting and everything else, looking at making sure that there is an annual review, making the quick updates there, as well as 5 years out, looking at there needs to be substantial amendments. So going there. So I want to think at the end of this that we built into these things so it becomes second nature, just something that we handle in this particular part of the year.
Okay.
With that, is there any other comments on this motion or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion is passed. And so me and Bob will get started on this work and report back when we have information. Continuing on in this item, and then moving really into number 4, is project prioritization. We have a number of projects in various stages, fact-finding, that are out there. I believe that we need to get these all at least on paper and listed, at the very least, at least by the title as we know them. Figure out a prioritization for them, as in this is more long-term, this is more short-term, where it is in the process, do we have all the information, and then figuring out some way to, is it a high, medium, low? Is it a 1 through 5? But I don't think we can really do that in a meeting. We probably should do that at an RDC workshop, so you'll have that there. So moving into item number 4 is trying to establish that date and time for the RDC workshop. Now, the only date that I'm aware of that everyone is available right now is Thursday, September 30th at 7 p.m. If this room would be available. Is the final Thursday usually available? Yes, okay.
Okay.
We can do that. I would say if we met at 7, hopefully no more than an hour and a half. I don't want to keep us here. It's getting darker by the day. So really set it for an hour and a half, 7, go to 8:30 to the max, but essentially put it out. Here are all our ideas in whatever phase you are. Would hopefully not like to have as much wishful thinking as possible, but you've had the idea. Let's put it out there, figure out where it is, add in other things that you may find important, and then let's get them listed, and let's try at least scratch out a rough prioritization of them. And if we need to return to that or readjust as we go, it's something we could do either at regular meetings or we can do another workshop after hunting season, for instance.
Yes. All right, so September 30th, 7 o'clock here. Okay.
Yes. Do we need a motion to do workshops, or I can just set that meeting as the?
You could set it.
Okay.
Or you can have a motion as well, but the president can set it.
Okay. All right. Well, based on that, I'm just going to say, unless there's objection, I'm going to call for and set a RDC workshop meeting for Thursday, September 30th at 7 p.m. here in City Council chambers to hopefully not last more than an hour and a half. So Kathy, whenever you feel it's the appropriate time, we just post that on there as a workshop. We'll use the last workshop meeting as just a model, put that out there, and we'll go from there, put it down on your calendars.
Okay.
Okay.
So is it okay then, because Mr. Campbell, he voiced an interest in maybe just participating in a workshop? Is it okay to invite?
If he wants to be here, that's
If
great.
he can be in a lot, he didn't say that would be something he'd be interested in.
Okay.
Good. Thank you.
Let him know.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, our last item of business is a renewal of our membership with RAI. Rhonda did confirm that we have not yet paid.
Right.
Now, you're going to need help here on how this goes. 'Cause with municipal budget, payment matters, I'm not as familiar. But the annual dues notice was sent to me. It's $125 for the year, or this 2021-2022 year. So I guess I'm going to ask for a motion for us to renew our dues at the amount of $125, and I'm going to make that motion.
I'll second.
And that's per member, right?
No, that's for the whole commission.
I think it's for the whole commission.
Yeah.
The whole commission.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Nathan, did you second?
Yes.
I was going to say that I made the donation for the first one. I would like to make a donation for part of it. Is that allowed for me to do? To make a $50 donation to help offset that cost?
You can always make a donation.
Okay,
Okay.
I think we need to just vote on
Right.
approve paying it, and then
and then
if
I
she
can
wants to
take care of that
donate
later.
to the
Just
RDC.
as long as it's
she
on the
can.
record. I don't want it to be a problem.
I don't think it was, if you've said that you've done it in the past
Well,
for the
yeah.
entire amount, then
Okay.
if it hasn't been a problem, State Board of Accounts hasn't talked to you.
No,
Okay. Well
She hasn't
then,
been led away in handcuffs yet, so I think we can.
okay. Okay, so the motion before us, have any further discussion on renewing our dues and authorizing the payment of that? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion is approved. Who do I, Kathy, I'm gonna actually give this to you. We'll talk about it afterwards about filling it out, or if the clerk treasurer needs to fill it out and send over that payment to them, and everything, but we'll talk afterwards.
Okay.
Okay? All right, Mayor Buckley, you're next on our agenda.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
This is a engineering report dated August of 2019 on the parking lot at Hornet Park. So it's 2 years old. The Parks Board will ultimately decide, what plan they want to use. But the plan that's in that packet increases the parking by 19 spots. Plus, it obviously corrects all of the problems. The very last page is the breakdown of cost, and that was 2 years ago. So I would suspect it'll be more than that. But I wanted to give you that because I appreciate your contribution. The city will commit at least $500,000 to this project. And then the school district, I talked with the superintendent, and she's aware of it, and she is supportive of it as well. Because they too use the parking lot. Anyway, that's where we're at. This project will not happen until next summer. So it's not anything that's going to happen this year. Next summer, they'll start the process in the winter, but it won't happen until school's out next year. So, but I wanted to give you some important updates. The budget, the council has a workshop next Tuesday. The first reading of the budget is October 4th, and the second and third is October 18th. That's when the RDC will have their budget presentation. Matt and Mr. Ron, I'm not going to be able to do that IU survey.
Okay.
So if somebody wants to do it, I just don't have time. I'm sorry.
Nope, understandable.
Crossroad has moved into their new building that's in your TIF area. So they have a 3-year abatement, so they're on the clock, effective September 13th. So again, that was an excellent move by the Redevelopment Commission and a big improvement to that area. The Thompson Trail, NDOT put the Thompson Trail out for bid yesterday. So they will award the bid on October 13th.
October 13th.
So we'll know who is the winning bid then. I don't think anything will happen until the spring, but it'll be set to go. The Main Street, the city has entered into an agreement with Jeff Mader to redo the landscaping from Emerson to 8th. So it's not, the current landscape is 9 years old, so it's time for an update. So a lot of it will come out, and there'll be some new plants and trees inserted. So no trees are being taken out, just we're adding some. So the Franciscan Trail is really moving along. The contractor thinks that they will be substantially completed with that project by the middle of November. So they plan on paving beginning next Monday. And then we'll soon get samples of colored concrete that we're going to use for the trailheads. All of the trailhead signs have been ordered. And both at the trailhead, signs have been ordered, and signs along the trail. And both of those signs have been approved by Francisco Lyons. So it's really going to be pretty. I want to talk to you about the landfill. Believe it or not, there has been this company that's come around for the last 6 months, wanting to lease the landfill. And I've always had a kind of cold shoulder to it because, I just don't know about this. So, anyway, the Big Dig Tunnel is just right outside Beech Grove right now. And this company that works with the people doing the Big Dig, they capture all of the rock and limestone that comes out of that Big Dig, and then they take it and they store it and they sell it and this, that, and this. Well, this company's adamant about wanting to use the landfill as storage. So I finally, they came in again Tuesday. Was it Tuesday, Kathy? I don't remember.
I think so.
And so I said to heck with it. So I called IDEM. And I talked to the IDEM area inspector, and they're familiar with this landfill. And I've talked to them twice since the original call. I told them, I said, this company is working with the folks at the Big Dig to do this gravel on the landfill. And I originally opposed it, because I didn't know any better. And the guy said, well, he said, it's a common practice. He said, provided they meet these certain standards. So anyway, their engineers for this company called. We have a meeting next Tuesday at 2 o'clock, or next Wednesday here at 2 o'clock. I asked Kathy to come to the meeting and one more member of the RDC.
I was gonna ask tonight, I haven't mentioned it yet.
And, because I can't invite 3 members. So to hear what this engineering firm has to say, but, I went from, no, I'm really not interested, to, well, I want to hear what you have to say.
Is he processing it?
I don't think so. I don't know.
That's some bad news. That's some bad news.
Is it good or bad?
Bad news.
So I don't know.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, he's already been sued. He's been ran off of other properties. That stuff is bad news when it gets into the air and people start breathing it.
Oh, my.
Yes, it is
So,
bad
well,
news.
I'm glad to hear that,
Yeah.
because I don't know.
Yeah.
Channel 6 News, about 4 years ago. Yes, I know exactly who you're talking
This
about.
particular company,
Yep,
really?
Yep.
What was the outcome of
He
lawsuits
lost.
or?
he lost a major lawsuit.
Well, I would be interested to hear what they have to say.
The
Obviously, they're not going to bring that up.
So you're just going to a fact-finding
Yeah,
meeting? Okay.
yeah.
it's,
Started out, I was cold to it, and I don't really want to do this.
yeah, it's some bad news.
So, good to know.
Is there somebody else that can
What day is
attend
it?
the meeting?
What time?
2 o'clock next Wednesday,
can't.
here.
I can't either because of work.
So anyway,
Then
it's in a
like
TIF
meeting.
district, and I said, well, I'm going to I'm going to invite them to join me so I can hear what these people have to say. There hadn't been anything agreed to. We're just hearing it.
Could you do
It's all the debris that they take from
Yeah,
the
it's
tunnel.
the dust that comes, yeah, it's from when they dig the tunnel, they put a big
You're right.
worm in the ground, and it
Yeah.
spins.
Uh-huh.
It pulls material
Stay at
up.
2 o'clock here.
Wednesday at 2 o'clock.
Said company picks the material up, takes it away from that site,
Okay.
and then they reprocess it,
Okay.
Now,
or whatever.
now, I don't know whether they just store it there or crush it, or, I don't know
It
yet.
goes through a crusher.
Yeah.
They process it. I'm not saying that's what they're gonna do there.
Yeah, I don't know.
But then you have the byproduct, which is all the dust from it when it comes out of the truck in the air, and it's known to
I
cause
was-
COPD.
I was,
and-
Oh,
my
my.
concern about it, James, was the cap on the landfill.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, that'll disturb that too.
All that
Yeah.
equipment, that heavy debris.
But, I'm gonna hear what they have to say.
You have one truck that'll go up there, it weighs 68,000 pounds, if he's legal.
And,
That's
and
a-
all the weight.
Yeah, that's 21 tons.
Wow. Dennis, Rob can attend as long as he's out by 3, is that right?
Yeah, I gotta be at the high school.
It'll be here, I mean,
Okay.
so,
And then what about the runoff into the creek?
well, that's all things that has to be addressed.
Right. Robert, can we research that? I mean, internet or?
Well, I think we should just wait and see what they say and then go
Yeah.
from there. I mean, anything we would say here is just be
It's
purely
right.
speculation.
Yeah,
Right.
we could talk about it if you want to talk about it. I know a lot about what he's talking about.
And the last thing, I want to give you an update on CSX. The council, at their last meeting, did the final approval on the plot plan for the old CSX, the Amtrak Industrial Park. That project's moving forward, and now, the way it's been set up is the RDC would have no obligation to pay anything or to help with any utility. It's all through the city of Beech Grove. So the next important date for that is October 6th, and that is when they go in front of DMD downtown for some assistance. So that project's moving along. They will have to apply for a variance out here in Beech Grove for that project, so, but that won't be too difficult. But I want to give you an update on that. I'm hesitant about publicly talking about it because it's not done yet.
Right.
So that's my update, if you have any questions.
Wow.
Exciting news all around. Interested in the Thompson Trails that's near my house.
Yes.
As that proceeds. CSX property, glad to see that we have something that's not being used into something that'll be used for something. Okay, but any questions for the mayor?
Well,
Thank you, Mayor.
thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, public comment. Well, thank everyone for coming today, working on the budget. Looking forward to our workshop meeting and the future plans that we have, and giving our presentation on October the 18th of our budget to the city council. Hopefully we'll approve it unanimously. Any further public comment? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I will second it.
Seconded by Nathan. All those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? We are adjourned at 8:09 PM. We'll see you all at the workshop meeting on September 30th. Thank
Everybody
you.
have a good weekend.